What's going on, guys? It's NYPrepper here. In this video I want to show you guys how to keep your knives razor sharp. So, I have a lot of different knives and I use them for different things, for bushcrafting, for hunting, for just practicing survival skills in the woods. And it's very important to keep your knives sharp. Okay, so in this video, I just want to show you the best way to keep your knives razor sharp. And in my opinion, the best way is with Arkansas stones, okay? There's many ways you can sharpen your knife. You can use Japanese wet stones or Japanese water stones. You can use ceramic stones. You can use diamond sharpeners. But I find the best way, me personally, is with Arkansas stones, okay, for maintaining a razor sharp edge on all of my knives, especially my SHTF knives and my outdoor knives that I use for hunting, survival, bushcrafting, etc. Okay, so now what is an Arkansas stone? All right, so an Arkansas stone, if you're not familiar what it is, it's basically just a natural stone, okay, like you see here. This is an Arkansas stone. And the reason why they're called Arkansas stones is because they actually come from Arkansas, okay? There's a deposit in Arkansas, for whatever reason, of these particular type of stones, all right? There's only a few places around the world where they're found, and one of the places is in Arkansas. There's a huge deposit of these types of stones, and I'm not going to get really much into the geology of that. If you guys are interested, you can just do a Google search of Arkansas stones, and you can read more about them. All right, but it's just a natural stone that's found in Arkansas. And that's all it is. It's just a natural stone, and it's just cut out from nature. Okay, that's all it is. It's just a piece of rock. Okay, and you use the rock to sharpen your knives. Okay, and so now when we use Arkansas stones, you have to make sure you use oil with them. Okay, and Arkansas stones are an oil stone. Okay. So if you're not familiar with, sharpening with natural stones or even artificial stones, you're either going to have an oil stone or a water stone, okay? And the reason why you use oil or water when you're sharpening with a stone, whether it's natural or man-made, is because the pieces of metal from when you're sharpening the blade, the pieces of metal that are coming off of the blade can get embedded into the surface of the stone, all right? Like if you were to rub your finger on this stone, it's pretty porous, okay? So as you're sharpening your knife on the surface of the stone, all right, the grits, the pieces of metal that you're shaving off to sharpen your blade can get embedded in the surface of the stone, okay? And once that happens, the stone becomes useless, all right, because you don't have fresh stone that's contacting the metal in order to rub the metal off, all right? Imagine like a piece of sandpaper, okay? If you have sandpaper and you're sanding wood, all right, what happens when you use sandpaper too much, all right? Once you start to use the sandpaper, the sawdust or the dust, from using the sandpaper, it gets into the sandpaper and it becomes useless, and you have to get more sandpaper. So in order to prevent that from happening with your stones, which are not cheap, okay, you have to make sure you use oil, all right? And it's nothing really fancy. All you do is you just dribble some oil on the top, and you make sure that it's constantly covered with oil, all right? And I'll show you guys in a second how to do that and how that looks like. All right, so you use oil with the Arkansas stones. Now, another thing about Arkansas stones is you have different hardness, okay? Typically, there's like 3 levels of hardness. You have a soft Arkansas stone, which is this one right here. A soft Arkansas stone usually has like a lighter color, and it'll have these like black you know, colorations inside of it. Okay, that's what's called a soft Arkansas stone. Then you have a hard Arkansas stone, which is like a uniform color, and it's a little bit darker than the soft Arkansas stone. And then you have the black Arkansas stone, which is a black color. All right, the stone itself is a black color, as you see. All right, and each one of these stones is basically like a different grit. Okay, although grits are not really used for Arkansas stones. All right, we don't use our grits when we're determining you know, how aggressive the stones will cut. All right, we just use soft, hard, and black. Okay, so a soft Arkansas stone would be your most aggressive cut, and that's what you use to take the most amount of material off of your blade, and that's where 90% of the work gets done. Then you have your hard Arkansas stone, which is like a medium grit. And then you have your black Arkansas stone, which is a fine grit, which you use to polish the blade. All right, you're not really shaping the blade or removing material with the black stone. The black stone is basically an ultra fine grit, so to speak, and it's mainly used for polishing the blade. So you get a nice polished blade, okay, and you get it to that razor sharp level that you want. Okay, so now so you have the three different types of stones: soft, hard, and black. Okay, and so you're going to start with the soft stone. If your blade is really dull, you start with the soft stone, then you go to the hard stone, and then you go to the black stone. Okay, you know, so you're going from, you know, the most aggressive, medium, and then you go to ultra fine to polish the blade. Okay, Arkansas stones will get your blades absolutely the most sharp of any other sharpening method, in my opinion. Okay, and you can talk to a lot of people and they'll say the same thing. Arkansas stones will get your blades razor sharp. Okay, so you're going to need some oil. The oil that I like to use is just some basic baby oil. Okay, just some basic baby oil. You know, you can buy a bottle of baby oil for $2 at the pharmacy. All right, so get yourself a few bottles of baby oil. Now, you can also get a portable Arkansas stone that you can carry with you in your bug out bag or your hunting pack or whatever. And this is one that I have. It's made by Smith's. Okay, all right, and it had, what I like about this one, you know, compared to other Arkansas stones I've seen, is that it has this nice hard plastic around it. Okay, they glued this stone into a nice hard plastic. All right, so it protects. It has a cover that snaps over it, and it protects the stone from getting cracked. Okay, because I've had other pocket stones. And, you know, those pocket stones, you know, Arkansas stones are very brittle and they can break very easily. All right. So, you know, if you have an Arkansas stone in your bug out bag to sharpen your knife or your hunting pack, whatever, it's nice to have something like this that, you know, protects it. Okay. So, you know, this is like a nice hard plastic. This is Smith's. I got this at Home Depot for like $2. And if you're going to have one of these pocket ones, make sure you carry a little bit of baby oil in your pack with it, okay? All right, so now another thing you're going to need is a rag, okay? You're going to have to wipe the oil off of the stone once you're done using it. You're going to have to wipe the stone off and clean it off after you're done, okay? So these particular stones that I got here, I got it from this company called Best Sharpening Stones, and they were, I think, around $50, okay, for all three of these, okay, for the soft, hard, and the black, okay. So I highly recommend you guys check this company out. I got these off of Amazon, okay, bestsharpeningstones.com, okay. I'll put a link in the description box so you guys can check them out. But I got the 3-pack. It's an absolutely great way to sharpen your knives. All right, so without further delay, I'm going to show you guys how I sharpen my knives with these, okay? And before I do that, I just want to show you the latest knife that I sharpened with these. And actually, let me turn the light on. This is the latest knife that I sharpened with the Arkansas stone. This is my Ontario Marine Raider Bowie, okay? And as you can see, it has a razor sharp blade. You can see how polished the blade is here. If you look closely at the blade, you can see how polished it is, okay? It's almost like a mirror polish, all right, on both sides. You see how it's shining the light off of it, okay? And that's what the Arkansas stones do, especially the ultra fine black stone. It really creates that mirror finish on your blade, okay? And it makes it razor sharp, all right? You know, when you're using these stones, they make the blades razor sharp, I'm telling you. So here I just have a piece of paper, and I'll show you guys how sharp this knife is here, okay? Look, barely any effort, and I'm just cutting this like it's nothing. Look at that. All right, and look at how thick this knife is, all right, and it's cutting it like a razor blade. Barely any effort whatsoever, okay? All right, so, you know, that's the kind of sharpness that you want to get, okay? So, I'm going to sharpen my other knife here. It's the Benchmade 119 Arvensis. So, I'm going to show you guys how I sharpen this knife. Or how I sharpen knives with my Arkansas stones. You guys have probably seen this knife before. This is my SHTF knife, and I recently took it out into the field to do some filming with this knife. Okay, I absolutely love this knife. It's great. So I'm going to sharpen this knife today with you guys. All right, it's pretty sharp still, but I want to touch up the blade a little bit. All right, and another thing that you can do is when you get a knife from the factory, you can use the Arkansas stones to really get a nice mirror polish, all right? Because at the factory, they use like grinding stones, and, you know, the factory sharpens it with a wheel, okay? They have like a wheel that turns, and they just pass the knife along it, all right, with a machine, and that's how it sharpens the blade. So you can really clean up your blade when you get it from the factory with one of these Arkansas stones. You probably don't need to use I never use the soft stone if I'm trying to just touch up, all right? The soft stone is if your knife is really dull and you have to put a new edge on it. That's what the soft stone is for. If you're just trying to polish or just quickly touch up a blade that's mostly sharp, then you're going to use the hard stone, which is the medium grit stone, and then you're going to finish off with the black stone, all right, to get that mirror polish, okay? Now, so the reason why it's called a soft stone is it's kind of funny. It is the softest of the three. So the hardest one is the black one, and the softest one is the soft stone. And the reason why the soft stone actually cuts more than the hard stone is because the soft stone, it has more texture because it's a softer stone, so it has more it has more texture on it, and that texture is what removes the steel, okay? So I'm going to show you guys how to do it, and one thing I also recommend, if you're going to be sharpening with these stones, you got to allow yourself at least 30 minutes to an hour to do one knife, okay? If you're going to start from scratch and you want to, you know, your blade is dull, you got to allow yourself 30 minutes to an hour. I usually like to watch a YouTube video or one of my favorite YouTube channels. Right now I got NYPrepper on, and I'm watching his latest live stream from earlier today. If you guys never watched NYPrepper, he's a great guy. And he happens to actually be originally from New York before he moved to Alaska. But check out his channel. He's a great guy. He's supported my channel a lot and helped my channel a lot. So go over there, check him out. He's a great guy, great channel. You know, so put a video on or something, because you're going to have a lot of work to do. It takes time. You got to be patient. And you have to really listen to what you're doing and pay attention to what you're doing. The most important thing is you have to keep a consistent angle, all right? When you're sharpening with the stone, you have to keep a consistent angle, and you have to keep consistent pressure as you're using the stone. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take if your knife is fully dull and you want to start over from scratch and get a brand new edge on it, you're going to start with the soft stone. All right, so what you're going to do is you're just going to take your baby oil, all right, and you're going to dribble some baby oil onto the surface of the stone. All right, and you're going to want to, once you put the oil, you're going to want to rub it all over the surface of the stone. You want the entire surface of the stone to be covered in oil, and you want to have like a little excess puddle on top, okay, because that puddle is what's going to trap all of the material from your knife that you're going to be removing, and that puddle is going to prevent the material from working itself into the stone. All right, so I'm going to see if I can't get this on film here for you guys as best as I can. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to, for all three of these stones, you're going to start with the soft, and what you're going to do is you're going to go 10 strokes on one side, then you're going to go 10 strokes on the other, then you're going to go 9 strokes, and then you're going to go 9 on the other side, and then 8, and then 8 again, 7, 7, 6, 6, and you're going to keep doing that all the way until you get down to 1, all right? If your knife is really dull, you're going to do that, but you're going to start with 20 strokes, all right? But today, my knife is still mostly sharp. I probably don't even need to use the soft stone, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm probably just going to use 5 on this one. So what you want to do is you want to keep your knife at about a 20-degree angle, okay? And you want to keep a steady pressure, all right? Steady pressure, and you want to keep it at a steady angle, and you're going to push forward, all right? Very straightforward, just like so, okay? If your knife is longer than mine, you may want to divide up the knife in half and do the first half of the knife and then the second half of the knife, which is what I did with the Marine Raider. I did the first half and then I did the second half, okay? So, but this knife is about a 6-inch blade, so we should be good. And we could just do it with one pass here, the whole blade with one pass, all right? So I'm keeping firm pressure. I'm not pushing too hard, you know? I'm not putting a lot of weight. It's a medium pressure. It's a firm pressure, kind of like if you're opening a jar. Okay, you're not trying to break the jar with your hand. You're just trying to crack the jar open. That's kind of what you're doing here. And you want to keep a even angle. You don't want the angle to change. You want to keep that angle steady. And, you know, keeping a steady angle, it's really, it takes a lot of experience. The more you do it, the better you'll get. And another thing, too, is you may have to add oil as you're sharpening. You want to maintain the oil on the top of the stone as you're sharpening it, okay? You don't want the oil to come off. If the oil starts to dribble off the side, you have to add oil, all right? You always want to have a coat of oil on the top of the stone, and you want to have a little puddle on the top of the stone that's going to, you know, keep the shavings from embedding themselves into the stone and making the stone useless, okay? So, all right, so I'm going to start cutting now, and I'm going to zoom in with the camera so you guys can see better what it looks like, all right? So stand by, but I'm going to show you right now how it works. So we're going to do 10. Again, firm pressure. You don't have to go too hard. All right, just, you know, medium pressure. You know, and if you make a mistake while you're counting, that's okay. If, let's say, you do 11 instead of 10, or 9 instead of 10, or 8 instead of 7, that's okay. All right, so now we're going to go to the other side, and we're going to do the other side now, okay? Again, this is not really rocket science. You know, you just want to make sure what you're trying to do is you're trying to just remove even amounts of material from both sides of the blade, all right? That's why you want to keep a good count. It's number 4. There's number 5. Okay. You want to have good lighting so you can see what you're doing and you can watch the blade to see how it engages the stone. All right. It's always better to use 2 hands, but with this knife, it's a short enough blade where I feel 1 hand I can do it. All right, but 2 hands is always better so you keep an even pressure. All right. All right, so now we're going to go back to the other side. All right. So the soft Arkansas stone is where you're going to remove most of the material from your blade. All right, the soft Arkansas stone is really where you're reshaping the blade and removing, you know, the material and getting that edge on there. And the hard Arkansas stone and the fine stone is where you're just really polishing the blade, all right, and making it a mirror finish, okay, and getting it to that ultra sharp, you know, razor sharp level that you want, all right. It doesn't matter if you have the best knife in the world and you're the best bushcrafter in the world. If you don't know how to keep your knives sharp, you know, that's a problem. You have to keep your knives sharp. A sharp knife is safer than a dull knife, and it's critical, okay, to have a sharp knife. You want your knife to be able to do what it has to do, you know, when the time comes, okay? So I'm going to change the camera angle so you can see more up close what it looks like. Now, when you're doing this, you always want to think in your head like you're trying to slice off pieces of the stone with your knife. Okay, that's kind of how I mentally keep it in my head. You know, it's almost like I'm trying to cut the top of the stone off or shave the top of the stone off with my knife. Okay, if you keep that in the back of your mind, you'll always have a good steady angle. Okay. All right, guys, so we finished with the soft stone, and I want to show you guys how dirty the stone is here, okay? So if you look at the stone, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see right here where my finger's pointing, there's a little dark coloration, and that's the shavings from the blade, okay? So now that we're done with the soft stone, what we can do is we can wipe the stone off and get the oil off. You see the dirt here? So now we wipe this off. We're done with the soft stone, and we're gonna move on. Look at how dirty this is, guys. Look at that. Okay, look at this. Look at how dirty this towel is here. All right, look at this. All right, that's from the shavings. Those are the shavings. And if you didn't use oil, all of this shavings would be inside the surface of your stone, and your stone would start to get clogged. And after 2 or 3 more times, it would be useless, and you would have to buy a new stone. So that's what the rag is for. You're going to clean up the stone nicely. Okay, get all the oil with the shavings off of it. All right, keep it nice and clean. Take care of your stones. All right, if you take care of them, they'll take care of you. Okay. All right, so moving on now, we're going to do the same thing with the hard stone, and then we're going to go to the ultra hard, or the black stone, and these two stones are just going to be to polish the blade and to get it to that ultra sharp final finish on the blade. All right, so stand by and you can watch me do the rest of this sharpening now. All right, so again, we're going to put more oil on the stone. Don't be shy, put a lot of oil. Okay, you can buy oil for really cheap at your local pharmacy, so don't be shy. All right, and stones like this are very good for preppers too, because these stones will never wear out. That's what's nice about natural stones, is that they don't wear out like artificial stones do. Okay, artificial stones wear out over time, but natural stones do not wear out as long as you take care of them and use oil and maintain them. They're gonna last a lifetime. All right, so you can get yourself a couple of these stones, and you'll have that for SHTF. You can constantly keep your knives sharp. Okay, all right. So same thing with the hard stone. We're going to do the same thing now. We got our oil on here, and we're going to keep a consistent angle, and we're going to keep a firm, steady pressure, an even pressure, okay? Same thing, we're going to start at 10 per side and then work our way down to 1, okay? I find this method to be the best method. And again, if your knife just needs to be touched up, you don't have to do the full 10. You can maybe do 5 with the soft stone, or you can even just skip the soft stone and go right to the hard stone and just do 10 on the hard and then 10 on the black, okay? All right, guys, so I finished up with the hard stone, and I can show you guys how dirty it is here. The oil worked its magic and got some of the shavings. Okay, you can see the dirty colorations here on the stone. Okay, so we're gonna wipe that off now, clean this stone up, and we're done with this one. And then we're going to move on to the final stone, which is the black stone. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing with the black stone. All right, so stand by and I'll show you how that works. All right, guys, so we finished with the black stone. The knife is absolutely beautiful now. You can see how polished the blade is here. All right, look at the blade, how shiny it is. All right, that has an ultra fine mirror finish, and that's from that hard black stone. It's a razor sharp edge. I want to show you how sharp this thing is. Here's my electric bill from last month. I'm going to show you guys. I'm just going to take the tip and show you guys how. Look at how sharp this is. I'm cutting through an entire envelope like it's nothing. Okay. All right. So that's kind of what you want. Okay, here I have some more papers here. I'll show you guys how sharp this thing is. I'll cut my old power bill here. All right. All right, guys, so show you one more time. Look at how sharp this blade is. All right, guys, so this is the kind of razor sharp edge that you want on your knives, and the best way to do that is with your Arkansas stones. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I encourage you guys to get yourself some Arkansas stones and practice using them. And as always, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's: prepare, practice, and persevere.